Hey, my name's Anthony.
My name's Alex.
And we are
the PTA Podcast.
Welcome everybody to the reigniting of the PTA Podcast.
Rejuvenation of the PTA Podcast.
I'm excited. Shout out to Rhiannon and Brendan, who had me on their podcast a couple of weeks ago. You two really inspired this to come back.
That's Evolve, yeah?
The Evolve podcast, yeah. I'm sure my followers would have seen little snippets of that podcast episode or may have listened to the entire episode on Spotify. It was a good episode, but I left it and I thought, I missed those kind of conversations. So the last one we did was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2023 was the last podcast we recorded.
And they were fun. So from 2019 to 2023, we did the podcast.
Yeah, we had about, I think, 64 episodes.
Yeah, we got close to 100, which was good. And one thing that I like is from that podcast episode that we did, whatever one it was, the people that we interviewed in particular, there's still a friendship there.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's been nearly 6 years now. No, 6 years, yeah. Which is great. That's one of the really cool things about a podcast is how you connect with people.
Just getting like-minded people into the same room, I guess, and just talking about things that, you know, not only just excite you, but being able to kind of entertain the audience about topics that they may be thinking of themselves as well, and giving them a little bit of insight into, you know, how we do things, how our guests do things, and relate that back to the listeners as well. That's the fun part.
Well, I definitely think, or I know that because we're in a world now with so much AI, it's nice to have a bit of HI.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good
Human
one.
interaction. It's nice to have that. And I think as humans, that's one thing that we thrive most in is when we're around other humans that bring us up, where we have a bit of a connection and we talk about things that we have in common. That's my favorite thing about a podcast. On top of that, obviously, with podcasting, it's a lot of education that you can get for free. So I've built a business or a new business, which I will definitely talk about to those who are interested, around what I learned from podcast episodes.
Yeah.
All right. I built my protein powder business. It's pretty much brand new. It's only a couple of weeks old. But all the things behind it, the back end work, from, you know, the logo to the how it's made to the flavor to the what's in it, the ingredients, everything was all because of a podcast episode that I listened, or a couple of podcast episodes that I listened to from business owners.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was it. That's the one thing I love about podcasting is it's broken away from the traditional ways of learning, which for me never really worked. Sitting down, reading a book, studying it never really worked for me. If you know me better than anybody, my mind does not sit still for very long. So
look, I think I got a little bit of mild ADHD because I was never able to do that back at school,
definitely.
and I still can't do that now.
No disrespect to anybody who actually does have a diagnosis of ADHD, but I definitely think I have it as well. My wife works with kids. She's a speech pathologist, as you know, and she definitely thinks I have something that I have. And when mum and dad hear her say it, she's like, "It's okay. It was undiagnosed. It's fine. It wasn't caught early." And the look on mum's face when she says it is actually pretty funny. But yeah, as I was saying, human interaction is something that I really enjoy. We work together, as everybody knows. We don't really interact much because we're so busy, right? Unless we're having a meeting about the meal prep company or a meeting about the gym or, you know, planning something that's going to happen in X amount of time. Yes, we have the human interaction, but we're not just having a good old conversation like we are, right now, which is what I enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But speaking about, I guess, human interaction, I want to talk about some topics today that are definitely going to get humans' ears pricking up. It's obviously in relation to the fitness industry because that's the industry that we're a part of, or I believe we're part of the health industry if you ask my honest opinion. But over the last, say, 4 or 5 years, as we know, different trends have popped up and become a thing, and other trends have gone away. Off the top of your head, now we have some stuff on paper that we're going to go over to give us a lot more direction with the conversations, but off the top of your head, what's one that you saw come and then go?
Well, since our last podcast episode, which was back in 2023 to right now, I think the main one that I saw pop up as a trend, it's still around now, but it's not really spoken about much now because a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon of it and then jumped off, which is keto.
Okay, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Now, not to say that keto is bad, and I think my brother Anthony can agree with me. We don't really say anything is good or bad. It's what works best for the individual in their current situation for their lifestyle. But in saying that, when you had a lot of people and a lot of coaches in our industry hyping up the fact that keto was the only way to go about things, and so many people believed it, and then we're trying it, and then after a couple months we're like, why the hell am I doing this for? Because it does not suit my lifestyle and it's a waste of time. That's where I was like, okay, a lot of people are going back into the habit of just trying to make money off a quick fix, right? Because as we know, a lot of people lost, a lot of body weight very fast off being on keto, but then nothing was sustainable. And the one thing that every human is looking for is a method that's sustainable for them, right? And so limiting your carbohydrate intake to sub 20 grams a day and, basing everything around high protein, high fat, for some people that wasn't sustainable. I know a lot of our clients that work in the corporate world that constantly have events on, whether they're taking out clients for business meetings and whatnot and going from this lunch joint to that restaurant for dinner. It's very hard for them to maintain a keto lifestyle. So, they came to us after being at, with other coaches at other gyms going, look, I've done A, B, and C, but nothing works for my lifestyle. I haven't found anything that's sustainable. So yeah, I just found that, keto was that trend that everyone jumped on very quickly and then everyone jumped off very quickly as well.
I think that's a good point. And the engine behind the fat loss around keto is simply putting an individual into a calorie deficit or decreasing their calories substantially, right, compared to what they were at previously. And the other thing is, with keto, just using that as an example, it gave them structure when previously, most of the time, they probably didn't have structure.
100%.
Right? What I feel sorry for is that weight regain that occurs after the individual gets out of that keto, because when you are in a ketogenic state, for example, you're not your body's ability to convert its primary, or no, not its primary, sorry, its preferred source of fuel as carbohydrates down to the next macronutrient, which is fats. That process takes a bit of time, but once you're in that process, things are working. But then to get the body to go back to using carbohydrates as its preferred source in a way that's controlled, most people don't know how to do that.
100%. That's where a lot of weight regain happens. Yeah. And even more weight regain occurs as well.
Well, the nature of weight regain, right, is that the fat cells that were in the body at that given point in time expand. And then there's extra fat cells that are put on top of it. So the old saying of, I lost it once, I did the same thing that I did the first time, but it's not working for me the second time. That's not
how many times have we heard that?
Well, there's a reason behind that, is what I'm trying to say. So when we look at that in particular about weight regain, if you use the old analogy of a cup and filling up with water, and that water is representative of your carbohydrate intake or the amount of carbohydrates your body can take before it overspills, right? If that cup becomes really full really quickly, as we both know, the areas in the body to store the excess carbohydrates that are consumed go into the blood, go around the organs, right, as visceral fat, right, and obviously the subcutaneous fat.
Yeah.
So that's probably a trend that definitely came and went fairly quickly.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
My trend is a little bit similar, but around detoxes.
Yeah. For any listeners right now, if you're watching this, we have been having this argument with so many people, I think since you first ever entered the fitness industry.
It's been around for ages. And it's all based on the fact that individuals, like you said before, trying to make quick buck off people, other companies that run pyramid schemes that try and make a quick buck off people as well, they pull on this whole your body needs to detox without really understanding that the detoxification pathway is already there.
100%.
You just need to support it.
Yep.
How do you support it? Stop eating like a dickhead.
Yep.
Simple as that, right? So when you understand that the body is unique, that the body is amazing in how it works, and it's not designed to be carrying lots of body fat, all you need to worry about is giving it plenty of rest, plenty of nourishment, plenty of water. Everything kind of works the way it's supposed to.
100%.
Right? But there's always somebody that will try to reinvent the wheel or try to tell you that you need to biohack your body or outsmart your body. And that's the words that they use, unfortunately. And as we both know, through all the years of research and study and everything else that's out there that supports this, you will always lose the battle to your body. You can never outsmart your body. You just simply need to work with your body.
Yep.
And I like to give the example all the time, and this isn't about detoxing. This is about bodybuilders who go on stage in peak week and try to dehydrate their body to make themselves look harder, right? Your body manages your hydration between the water in your muscle and the water just under your skin, right? Your body manages that minute by minute in a 24-hour day. So when you see some guys look really hard during their entire prep, look great, and then peak week comes and they just become soft
and
right? What happened? They changed something, and their body had to, manage whatever circumstance that the individual put their body in the best way it knows how, which is survival comes first, not your abs, right? So I like to use that as an example where I kind of reinforce the fact that you can never, ever, ever outsmart or biohack your body. You simply need to understand how it works and therefore support it. It's as simple as that.
Exactly right.
But for some reason, the simplicity and all that, people aren't sold by that. It's almost like it's too simple to be true.
Yeah.
It needs to be complicated so it can be something that I can wear as a badge of honor that I do on a daily basis. No. You know what my badge of honor is? Sleeping 7 hours a night.
Yep.
Bro, how many hours did you sleep? 7 hours. Whoa.
Yep.
Like, to me, that's great because everything else is going to work better for you from that simple thing of getting 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah, man. Look, it's funny that you mentioned the word complicated, and I want to highlight that word because I was having a chat with one of our clients that had just started with us last Friday. Had my first check-in call with her, and she was telling me about all the things that she had done in the past, and I said, look, one of the biggest things or biggest ways I like to do things with our clients is to strip everything back, stop complicating things, and just nail the basics, right? And the term nailing the basics is something that we learned off many of our mentors throughout the years.
Yeah.
And it's something that's always worked no matter who we've come up against, right? No matter what client we've worked with. And if you're listening and you're saying, okay, well, what do you mean by nailing the basics? I'm talking about eating quality food, having enough food in a day, hydrating well, sleeping well, and moving well. Now, those 5 things are ultimately what we need to just survive as human beings, right? But when we nail them and we get them right on a consistent basis, the body will respond. And that's something that the general person either doesn't understand or forgets because there are so many different opinions out there now and have been out there for so many years. And people like to sound smart by throwing big words out there that will complicate things and ultimately get someone to a point where they end up coming to us saying, I've tried so many things over the last 5-6 years, nothing's working. What do I do?
Yeah.
And just going back to the basics of, like you just said, sleeping 7 hours a night. How many people do we ask, right? And I'm sure that you've probably spoken to about 10 people in the last 2 days.
Well, every client that trains with us is supposed to fill out, whether they do or not is my argument literally every single training session, but they're supposed to fill out a pre-training health screen. And the first question is, how many hours of sleep did you have last night? Because that tells me a lot about how they're going to perform
100% it does.
in that session, right? And whether or not we need to make changes or add, or we can keep the same. It just tells me a lot. But yeah, as you were saying.
No, so just going back to my point, yeah, we as human beings, for some reason, fall into the habit of overcomplicating everything.
Yeah, we're stressed.
Right. And when we strip everything back and we just, again, nail those basics, right? The results speak for themselves. Not just from a body composition point of view, because I want everyone to understand your body composition will follow your health, right? And if you get your health in check, the physical body, what you see on the external, will come with it.
Yeah.
Right? It's very hard. If your goal is to get a six-pack and a visible six-pack on a daily basis, it's very hard to do that if you're sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night and your body is highly stressed out and highly inflamed.
It's hard, yeah, exactly.
Right? It's very hard to do. It's very hard to have a visible six-pack, again, if that's your goal, if you're, only eating 1,000 calories a day and not hitting a protein count and your body can't even maintain any muscle mass, right? Going to what I just said, and shout out to one of our colleagues, Sam Kagaris, this whole 1,200 calorie thing still exists, and I don't know why.
Right? Did you see his story?
I saw his story.
Did you message him? He messaged me about where this is a new client of his, where that guy got the information from, and I can't say it on the podcast, but I'll tell you after the episode who told him to do this, and your mouth's going to drop.
I'm assuming it's going to be someone that's supposed to be reputable.
Yeah, your mouth's going to drop.
And this is what I don't understand. Like, let's be real. Why does 1,200 calories still exist?
Well, that was a trend that came and went, right? And the reason for that was because who, or what I should say, made it a thing that was the only way to lose, right? And it is. You will lose. But our job, what Platinum Training Academy stands for, and any good coach would agree with this, it's not about the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks. It's about that 12 months, the 12 years.
The rest of your life.
Yeah, it's about that. And so 1,200 calories as an example, keto as an example, detoxes as an example. Those trends are simply trends. Fads, trends, whatever you want to call them, they have, by nature, they come and they go. Right? We hear it all over, like the news. Some latest trend has come and sweep come and taken over.
It just jogged my memory when the news came out about eggs.
Yeah.
You messaged me straight away. You're like, are you fucking serious? It took them 30 years to realize that eggs is good for you.
Bro, but the latest doctors, I'm like, what latest doctors? What are you talking about? Right? Like, if you know how they labeled superfoods? I used to look at the list. There was never eggs on it. They put kale before eggs. And if anyone knows anything about nutrition, kale ain't no superfood. And so get it out of your greens drink. But they would sit there and like eggs would never be on the list. Ever. They'd put oats before eggs. I was like, what is going on here?
Only like now, I think it was the back end of 2024, beginning of 2025, that they finally labeled eggs as something that every human needs to eat on a daily basis.
Well, as the doctors that we studied from say, if you follow what the government tells you about health, you're never going to be healthy. If anything, you're going to get worse with your health, right? And don't get it twisted. I don't hate doctors. Everyone thinks I hate doctors. Don't hate doctors. Doctors are very intelligent. But if you understand what a doctor studied, they study illness. They do not study health. And I'll say this till my face turns blue. They study illness, they don't study health. So when they give you health advice with a gut that's out here, right, and they don't even do anything around what they're telling you to do, that tells you, and that tells me, that they know how to get you better from having the flu with their antibiotics, but they don't necessarily know how to get you to decrease your cholesterol, decrease your blood sugar, drop your body fat without taking any kind of external medication or pill or injection. They simply don't. Okay, and my fight is, why would you take an injection or a pill or a tablet when your lifestyle caused it and your lifestyle can reverse it?
Yep, 100% on that.
Without the negative health implications that are associated with things like Ozempic, right? With things like metformin, right? With things like cholesterol tablets. When you start cholesterol tablets, you got Buckleys if you think you can get off them.
Yep.
When you start metformin and you're on it for long enough, you got Buckleys if you think you can get off that. If you start Ozempic and you're on it for long enough, you got Buckleys if you think you can get off that, right? And if you do somehow wake up one morning and decide, nah, I'm not doing it anymore, you do not have any clue as to what happens with your body as a response. You know what's even worse? Your doctor doesn't even know what's going to happen to your body as a response when you decide to just stop it. There's no winding down or weaning off process with that stuff.
Just so people know, we're talking about people that, for example, with Ozempic actually don't have diabetes, but they're just taking it for weight loss purposes.
I'll call it, Alex, sorry. Even if you do have type 2 diabetes, don't touch Ozempic. Don't. Because the studies have come out, and they're everywhere, if you want to search them, of long-term usage of Ozempic linked with organ failure. I don't give a fuck how bad your blood sugar is. You can get your blood sugar back to normal by simply changing your lifestyle and still have usage of your organs.
Yep. Let's not talk about the people that have died from things like Ozempic.
We can go on for hours. We can make that a whole new podcast.
Anyway,
that's a trend. If you want to go,
that is a trend. That was actually a massive trend last year and this year as well.
I'm still fighting with people about it right now, and they're like, "Yeah, but
my mother-in-law works at a pharmacy, and it's so unfortunate that people that actually have diabetes
can't actually get the
product because they're out of stock because everyone or all these doctors are prescribing it for weight loss purposes.
Yeah, because they get money off the back of it. We all know
yeah,
this.
We know.
Anyway, but what I'm trying to get at, even those people that can't get it, just put your hand up and say, okay, what else can I do? Not, oh my gosh, I don't have Ozempic, I'm doomed. Like, what else can I do? Be proactive, take ownership, like, make change, build a bit of muscle, and watch how much better your blood sugar automatically becomes.
Yep. Just start moving, go for a walk, go for a half an hour walk, and look how much better your blood sugar levels come. Look how much better your mood becomes, your energy levels, your recovery, your stress management, just from going for a walk.
Very true, very true. All right, now, so we're talking about what we've noticed with some of the things, and that caused a typical Cassis rant. But I want to talk about some of the shifts over the last, say, 12 to 18 months in our industry in particular, right? Now, one of the things that I really love is that for a long time, there was this obsession with calorie restriction.
Yeah.
Right? And in particular, just simply obsessing about calories. 1,200 calories, for example, or being in a calorie deficit is the only way to lose body fat, all that kind of stuff. I love the fact that there's been a shift from the amount of food you eat, as well as, or taking that into account with the type of food that you eat, right? So there's been this great shift from just simply focusing on quantity of food to actually looking at the quality of your food and looking at nutrition as a way to help you nourish the body and recover well, sleep well, fix up a lot of health concerns that could be there, like blood sugar elevation and all that kind of stuff too. So I love the fact there's been less of a focus on just hitting macros and calories. Macros and calories, as we both know, are super important.
100%.
But what's even more important, in my opinion, is where are you getting those macros and calories from?
Definitely.
Right? So what have you kind of noticed about that?
Going on from what you're saying, I think a big way of eating that came about maybe the last 3 years, it became very popular, flexible dieting, right?
Oh, look, I think it's been around for a lot longer than that.
But I think from what I saw, it became very popular over the last 3 to 5 years, very popular, right? Because it gave people a way to be able to still enjoy the freedom of eating and their life, their social life, but sticking within their calories and macros and still being able to reach their body composition goal.
Yeah, with the 80-20 rule. Right?
Exactly right. But my take on it, from doing bodybuilding and being a bodybuilding athlete and training people that, have necessarily wanted to, get to the body fat percentage where they have visible abs and whatnot, my take on flexible dieting, and maybe some people will agree with me, maybe some people won't, you need to earn the right to actually be able to flexible diet. What do I mean by that? If you don't have discipline with your eating, flexible dieting, and I've seen it with my own eyes, turns into binge eating.
Well, flexible dieting is just an excuse then. Oh, it's my 20% day.
Right.
Or it's my 20% meal.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard, the concept of if it fits your macros.
Yeah.
Right? That's another style of flexible dieting. But what I saw from so many people that I either spoke to or just seeing people on social media is that they lost control of their calories and macros because they thought that, theoretically speaking, flexible dieting means that you can be flexible with your daily eating, right? And if it fits your calories and your macros, then you're good, right? But because they had no discipline and willpower to start with in the first place, the flexible dieting went from sticking within their calories to now blowing their calories out. Because they went from maybe having, let's just throw it out there, a quarter pounder and fitting that into their calories to them blowing out on junk food, right? Because they had no discipline in the first place. So I truly believe that flexible dieting or counting calories and macros it does require discipline. And if you've come from a state of having no discipline with the quality of food that you eat, then you're not ready for flexible dieting or counting calories and macros because you have no structure in your day or in your week in general.
Yeah. And I truly believe that as a coach, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of people, right? I've been doing this for 15 years. One of the things that I've noticed is that when you give people structure, the adherence level is so much higher.
Yeah.
And this is specifically with our niche. If I give you your plan when you were on prepping to go on stage, I gave you your calorie target, I gave you your macros. You work the meals out, right? Because you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
When you get an everyday person, actually no, let me get a bit more specific with that. That's too blasé. When you get the type of client that Platinum Training Academy trains, which is our niche, right? People over 30 who want to lose body fat, get stronger without restrictive diets and spending hours in the gym. When you get a person like that, you're generally getting a mother or a father. You're generally getting somebody who works full time. You're generally getting somebody that's got a lot of stress in their life, right? And is trying to juggle multiple things at once. So to give them something else to do that causes them potentially more stress, or if they have something as simple as decision fatigue, where they're constantly trying to make decision after decision after decision after decision, taking away the decisions for them and giving them that structure they need where there's no thinking required is going to get them to adhere to the plan better.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially we do a lot of the thinking for our clients, but on top of that, we educate them on why. If we don't educate them on why, they're not going to follow it. People of today do not follow things blindly. There needs to be an understanding as to how this applies to them, but also an explanation for why it's going to get them from where they're at to where they want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is exactly why when people sit opposite us and we talk to them about their food and about what their food or their nutrition plan is going to help them achieve in conjunction with everything else that they're doing, there's got to be a huge focus on the quality of their food.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're not just impacting how they look. We're impacting how they feel. We're impacting their health. We're impacting their performance. We're impacting their brain function. We're impacting their digestion, their muscle, their recovery, their joint health, their immune health, right? Their blood sugar levels. I can keep going. Their immune health. I can keep going. So this is why I love the fact that there's been more of a focus on things like gut health, on things like micronutrients, right? On things like understanding that there needs to be not just a focus on one macronutrient group, that all three need to work together in conjunction with the calories, and that there's a huge correlation between the both, and that one affects the other. One isn't independent from the other, right? And that's been, for me, a really good thing that I've seen in the world, or specifically in our industry, because people are starting to understand that taking the time to pick what you eat is really important, right? Not just going for McDonald's because you got 1,000 calories to spare.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So this is what I preach a lot about. If you want to go have McDonald's, have it. But ask yourself the question, is it going to help you move forward to your goals? Yeah, it's just one meal in the week. That's one meal in the week, right? If you're following the 80-20 rule and you're having 5 meals a day, which equals 35 meals a week, 80% of that is 27 meals in a week. Sorry, 28 meals in a week. So you got about 7 meals to spare as whatever you like. You can do Macca's for one meal. It's okay. You can do KFC for the other meal. Okay. You can maybe miss another meal. Okay. But when measurement time comes and there's progress, great. It doesn't mean now that you can have Macca's 5 times a week or 7 times a week and still get progress.
And that's the discipline and willpower that I'm speaking about.
So this is why we push now, stay a bit more towards 90%. Because if you're going to do this, you might as well do it properly.
100%.
You're going to spend a lot of money with me as a coach. Let's get some changes. Let's fix your health, right? Because the very loose education that's out there about if it fits your macros and flexible dieting, it's loose information, because where are they getting it all from?
Yeah.
TikTok and Instagram.
Social media.
A minute video. You're telling me it's going to tell you everything you need to know about every single function within the body and how food interrelates with that? You're not, right? And they're not going to spend the hours that you and I spend and still spend learning that stuff, right? And even today, like AI, ChatGPT, right? there was a meme I got sent a couple of days ago. Don't trust your doctor because your doctor's getting the answers for his exam from ChatGPT. Right? And I was like, I laughed.
That's a good one.
I laughed. And like I always say, doctors are very intelligent people. But who's to say that in today's day and age, they're not getting answers from ChatGPT because they can't bother reading the research papers? Right? Who's to say? And who's to say that the universities aren't going to pick up on that and call that plagiarism? Right? There's a nutrition course that I'm doing at the moment. It's a great course. They have on every single question something along the lines of, I can't remember the exact wording, but there's some kind of technology or software that they use to pick whether it's coming from ChatGPT or AI automated, or whether it's an AI automated answer, or if there's plagiarism, right? So like that's good, but a university is doing that? We don't know. I have to ask a uni student who's studying to become a doctor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But the point of what I'm trying to get at is that information is so accessible, but it's all surface level stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? If I told ChatGPT, and I'm on ChatGPT a lot, right? If I told ChatGPT, outline the entire university course for medicine, right? And I gave it all the prompts that I want to give me every single piece of detail. It may take about half an hour to an hour to give me everything, but it'll give me the entire 8-year or 10-year course with everything there, right? And I haven't spent a single dollar for a university.
It's freaky, eh?
It's scary as hell, right?
AI could be a whole nother episode in itself, but it's freaky.
It's a great tool.
It's cool.
It's made people lazier.
Yeah.
Is ultimately what I'm trying to get at, right? And when it comes to nutrition, even PTs are jumping on ChatGPT and asking them to act as if they're a nutritionist with knowledge and qualifications in X, Y, and Z. And you have this client with this that wants this result. What's the best plan to do for them? And these guys and girls have been a PT for 6 months, but they're spitting out these plans and making out as if they're these intelligent people when they've done no study to earn that, right? So I don't know, man. I think the way the world's changing is really scary. But again, to go back to the point we were talking about, there's less around simply just being obsessed with calories, and a bit more around nutrient quality, but also the marrying of the both and how they work together.
Definitely.
All right, cool. So moving on to the next point, Al, this is one thing that I've loved because I talk about it all the time. And I used to argue with a lot of runners about the fact that, a runner who was 20 looked like they were 40 because their body was so aged from doing all the extra cardio and all the muscle that they were losing. But over the last 3 or 4 years, I've noticed a huge rise in strength training, not just for the look that strength training can give you, but also for longevity.
Yep.
What do you think,
People are understanding it. I think there's been a lot more research done, which is amazing, on the benefits of strength training for the human body. Not just for athletes, but for the everyday person. And that's the exciting part, because how many people have come to us over the last year that they've come from Pilates or a commercial gym or just, going for runs and said, I want to get into strength training. And like you said, we've seen a massive rise in that. And I think it's because people are just sick of feeling like crap. And I think they're starting to see, again, this is the beauty about social media. They're starting to see so many people, other people worldwide, talk about how good they feel off lifting weights, how good they feel undergoing strength training, how good their bodies feel and how much healthier they've become from strength training, especially, and I'm not talking about the youngins, I'm not talking about the teenagers and people in their 20s. I'm talking about the people that are over 30, 40, 50 years old, even 60 years old.
You're talking about the people
our niche.
That we train,
which ultimately, at this current point of time, make up majority of the population are the ones 30 and above. And they've seen such a rise in that demographic undergoing strength training now because of how good it's making them feel, how youthful it's making them feel all over again. And I think for every person that's getting older, all they want to do is feel young again to an extent, right? Having that waking up in the morning feeling useful, going about their day feeling useful, being able to pick something off the floor and, there's no aches and pains.
Not tweak their backs,
as
they say.
I think a lot of people are starting to understand from that point of view the benefit of strength training, and it's become I'm not going to use the word trend. It's become something that people are realizing that it's necessary.
Yeah, look, I know that all the studies around strength training supports the fact that it can be dubbed or should be dubbed the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Right? One of the things that exercising does is it delays aging, especially strength training, delays aging. There's a lot of strong data that suggests and supports that resistance training is an essential part for aging well. And it's not just about building muscle, right? It helps with bone density, your overall metabolic health. And the most important thing that I feel that strength training can help with is preventing injuries.
Well, let's go back to the bone density thing. And I know you have the best example the moment I mentioned bone density for an individual, a female, who was over 50 and her bone density levels were declining. And doctors were like, look, we don't know what to do and you might have to get on this medication, blah, blah. And then she obviously came to you to start strength training, right? And I'll let you continue on because obviously you know more in more detail the scenario I'm talking about.
Well, she came to me because she broke her elbow because she slipped and fell.
Yep.
And she came to me for rehab because she didn't like the physiotherapist that she was at. I rehabbed her, I fixed her, but as a indirect benefit, her overall bone density tremendously improved. She was diagnosed with osteopenia, which is that early onset of osteoporosis. I had known that at that point, by the way. I just did what I do. Okay, let's get you stronger. So she broke her elbow. She couldn't extend her arm out. She was like this. The treatment she was getting from the physiotherapist that she was at was what I believe to be completely wrong. But hey, who am I? So I took her through what I feel was the best thing to do in conjunction with the massage therapist and the physiotherapist that I like to work with. And she became a brand new person. She's benching over 60 kilos again and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I said it right, over 60 kilo bench press. Does any kind of exercise with her upper body with no issues. But she was told that nothing would ever be the same around that arm and elbow. But a really cool thing that she came to one of our sessions telling me about was she saw her doctor and her doctor asked her, what is she doing differently? And she said, I'm just doing exercise now. I'm training 3 times a week with weights with my personal trainer. And she's like, because you are no longer in that category of suffering from osteopenia. You've actually tripled your bone density in the last, I think, 5 or 6 months. She said, what medication have you been taking? She said, none. And the doctor couldn't believe it. She said, what are you doing? She said, I'm just doing strength training. And what's funny is she actually got taller by like a centimeter or 2.
There you go, guys.
Because her spine,
don't get your knees done, strength training.
Hard, because her spine went from being like so compressed to lengthening up. She built muscle around her body again, which helped her with her posture, which made her taller. So she didn't miraculously get taller, but her posture improved, which showed that she actually got taller because she wasn't so slouched over all the time.
Again, the miracle
little things
strength
like
training.
that. Yeah, little things like that. But what I loved the most was that she had no longer now had to fear what's going to happen to the rest of my life now if I haven't got, if I've got this, disease, for lack of a better term. So that was one thing that I loved about strength training. Then it sparked something. A lot of the older generation that we train, and what I mean by older generation is there are some in their 60s and 70s that we train. I know as we get older, our bone density decreases, our muscle mass decreases. And every year above 30 years old, it just goes downhill, right? I don't know why they call it, like they want to celebrate a milestone of being 30. It's the most depressing thing ever after that, right? But exercising, again, the fountain of youth. It's made such a huge difference to our oldest client in our gym, for example.
Yep.
Shout out to Jacques. I love you, man. But he's 68 years old.
Squatting full depth.
He did 12 push-ups on his toes today at 68 years old.
Yep.
Right? The guy ran on the treadmill a couple of days ago.
I still remember he came to us not even being able to sit on a chair properly. And now he's squatting with a 10-kilo dumbbell in his hand.
Ass to grass.
Like I'm talking, this is the floor, this is his ass, and it's like right there. Full ass to grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I laughed with him yesterday because he said, I tried to touch the floor with my and I couldn't. I was so close, but I couldn't reach. And I looked at him. I said, you don't have to do that. He goes, but I really want to try. But anyway,
and that's someone that's, again, 68 years old who has not being able to even sit back onto a chair properly without getting aches and pains in his back, hips and knees. And now he's squatting full range of motion, weighted as well. And yeah, just walks in with a bigger smile on his face, and it's beautiful to see.
He's a good dude. All right, before we end this episode of the podcast, I want to go over one more thing that we have noticed has come up more and more and more, and it's a big aspect to our gym. It's a popular part of our gym as well.
Go for it.
Go?
No, you go. I'll see if I read your mind. It's either sauna or ice baths.
It's recovery.
Oh, there you go.
So we now understand more than ever before that recovery is no longer optional. It's a must.
It's a necessity.
Right? And so whether it be a traditional sauna, an infrared sauna, whether it be what we term as a traditional ice bath, or what they call now as a cold plunge, which is like a little bit of a warmer version of an ice bath, or whether it be recovery boots, or whether it be
getting a massage,
massages, or having cat naps, whatever you want to term those things as, they're all under the umbrella of recovery. And I love the fact that they're finally kind of that's a trend, by the way. Like, it's actually come full. Because I remember over 15 years ago when I was boxing, I was doing ice baths, not knowing what all the multitude of benefits of ice baths were.
It's just something that you did.
But I was doing
it
for mental toughness.
Yeah.
And my coach was like, do an ice bath, have a hot shower, go to bed. It's the biggest reason why I used to jump out of bed at 4 a.m. like I had slept.
Best sleep of your life.
For 3 days, you know? But yeah, these kinds of things are not, like I said before, optional anymore, because they're really good tools to use to promote recovery. And it's all based on the fact that we understand now that the real growth happens where?
Well, when stress is managed.
From recovery.
Yeah.
You want to lose body fat, focus on recovery, right? You want to push your calorie deficit harder, it's going to bring your stress up more because you're indirectly starving yourself. Not indirectly, you're directly starving yourself. Focus on recovery because stress is going to come up.
Well, the best
you want to train harder, focus on your recovery so you can grow more or get stronger, whatever it might be.
Exactly. The best example I can use, and I say it to everyone, who are the people on the planet that have the best physiques in the world? Bodybuilders.
Africans. Right? What? Genetic freaks, those guys, man.
African bodybuilders. No, bodybuilders. And if you look at what they do on a daily basis, every single professional bodybuilder who does it as that's their full-time job.
Yeah, because
they have
the life to be able to do that.
4 or 5 naps plus their normal night sleep in a day.
Yeah.
Why?
Just kick it. They kick it. If
you speak to them, and I'm blessed to be friends with some of them, the one thing they harp on themselves and their coach drills into their head is recovery. Recovery. You want to look like an animal on stage? Bring your stress levels down. Yeah. You want to be lean? Bring your stress levels down. You don't want to hold water? Bring your stress levels down. Build muscle? Bring your stress levels down.
On that, this has nothing to do with recovery, but it does have a lot to do with stress and what stress does to your overall physique, right? Especially around that midsection area. Ronnie Coleman. Remember the story about Ronnie Coleman when he won his first show with the tequila?
Yeah.
He had done 6 shows in a row or 5 shows in a row prior to that. And all your bodybuilding legends out there, don't get upset if I get these little semantics wrong. But he had done multiple shows in a row, and he was always finishing like outside the top 5.
Yep.
And he had the shits because
everybody, we're talking like outside the top 10.
There you go. Everybody was like he had this big rap going into all these competitions, and he wasn't placing anywhere. And he had the shits, and some of the boys that got together.
Kevin Levroni went into his hotel room.
There you go.
And it was actually supposed to like sabotage him. And so he was like, man, just loosen up. Like, let's just have a few shots of, I think it was either tequila or vodka. One of the two. Vodka.
Yeah.
And he's like, just have a few shots of vodka and blah, blah. And so they did, and they got a little bit tipsy. And Kevin's like, yeah, mad. Like, this guy's not going to beat me tomorrow. And then, obviously go on.
Well, he slept like a
baby.
Woke up leaner.
Vascular.
And won.
And I'm pretty sure he
won.
Yeah, he won that next day.
Next day. And everyone was like, what the?
Took all the water out of him.
Well, he brought the stress down.
Yeah.
So that cortisol wasn't that high or nowhere near as high. So his body wasn't holding on to anything. It was
hard and vascular and dry.
It was the Ronnie Coleman that we've come to know.
Yeah.
Right? In his peak.
So it backfired.
Right?
Spewing Kevin.
Yeah, but it goes to show, bring stress down. Look what happens.
Yeah.
You know how I know I've had a good sleep? When I see my abs in the mirror.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning.
Definitely.
You know how I know I've had a shit sleep?
When my stress is just high? Look bloated.
When I look like a fat shit when I'm looking in the mirror at myself. Right? But yeah, recovery is no longer optimal as our point says. And the other thing, on top of saunas and cold plunges, simple things like sleep trackers.
Yeah.
Right. I used to track my sleep. I do with the Oura Ring. Right. So it tells me how well I've slept and all that kind of stuff when I wake up in the morning. But things like breath work.
Yep.
Right. There's now workshops for breath work, like full blown workshops, and I'll pay a lot of money for these breath work specialists to tell you to stop doing anything and just
mouth breathing
and just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth for an hour or so.
Yeah.
Like, it's great, and there's obviously a lot more to it. It's not just that simple, but breath work is amazing.
It is.
Right? I tell every single one of our clients 5 deep belly breaths, before you have every meal.
We did a breath workshop with Daniel, Dr. Daniel Kirkbride.
Oh, it wasn't a workshop. It was part of his thing on that day.
Yeah.
But it worked.
But it worked. It was like a 10, 15 minute kind of.
No, it was less. It was like 5 minutes before we went for the lunch break.
I meant like the whole segment that he did. He explained
it, but the actual workshop itself.
Yeah, the workshop itself on that set, on that part.
Yeah. It worked because I didn't feel as bloated after I had lunch. Definitely worked, right? But yeah, recovery is optimal. So to summarize, we're back. Platinum. PTA Podcast is back. I'm so privileged to be able to do it with you. It's a great facility.
Pretty cool.
Shout out to Wisecast for this awesome place. What's on for the next episode, Al?
So the next episode, man, we're going to pretty much just start discussing sustainable habits, building habits, daily habits, weekly habits, and things that people need to do to just instill good structure.
Yeah, we want to make these short, sharp, really good episodes for all of you to be able to take something from it or a couple of things from it and just implement it into your day.
100%.
Right? Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.